Hey guys, welcome to day 16. At the top of this video, I've got to give you guys not only a disclaimer, but I've got to give a teaser, both in the same thing. You're going to see a video next week where I say that it's day 16, and it's not. It's probably going to be day 18 or day 19, somewhere around there. At any rate, I shot a video today that I wanted to upload today, and it's just not going to be possible because it's going to take a little bit of editing, and I've got to have a couple people view it for me. So I'll just leave it at that, but the teaser is this. I just got done doing an amazing interview with the legendary Roy Burns and with Aquarian's A&R rep Chris Brady. I went to my longest running endorser, Aquarian Drumheads, and did a great interview with them to kind of expand upon a video that I did last week that I've been getting a lot of good emails and messages about on endorsements. So look for that. That's going to be up next week, and I think you guys are going to love it. It'll be worth the wait. So today what I want to talk about is something I was going to talk about next week. I had one of my drum students come to me last week, and poor guy is really bummed out, man. He's a young guy, he's 19 years old, just graduated high school, he's playing in a band, he's going to college, he's studying music, and he's just loving life, you know, and just doing an amazing job with what it is that he's doing. But he's young, and he's new to playing live and everything like that. His band got to the gig, and they had a bad night. They had all kinds of, you know, just everything that could go wrong went wrong. And they got up there and they played. He wasn't feeling too good about himself. And so he goes, man, have you ever had that? And I was like, oh yeah, I've had that. And so he goes, you ought to do a video on it, because he's been following these videos. So here's my video on having a bad gig. A few years ago, I was doing a gig with the Sam Morrison Band out in Parker, Arizona. We were playing at a concert venue out there as an outdoor thing. Big concert too, you know, big crowd up onto the hill, big stage, lighting, the whole 9 yards. And I was walking up to the drum set. The intro music is playing. We're going to go on. We're going to downbeats in 45 seconds. I'm walking behind the amps, and I have my in-ear monitors in, and the cord to my monitors goes down behind my back. It got caught on an open clip on a flight case and ripped them out of my ears. And I was like, what the heck happened? And I found them, I put them back in, I get up behind the drum set, I sit down, I plug my in-ears in, because it plugs into a little pack on the side of my drum set. Well, live, I play to a metronome. I play to a click live. And so I reach over, I turn on the metronome with everything that's going on. I was so disoriented by the in-ears that I failed to realize the click was on the wrong settings. I counted the first song, it was just, oh, it was terrible, it was awful. And so what I did was I realized right away that was unacceptable. Okay, everything that was going on was within my control, and it was unacceptable that this happened. I was very disappointed in myself. And I tell you guys that story because what I've really done is I've always taken great pride in my musicianship, and I've taken, you know, I've gone to great lengths to be the best drummer that I can be. But, you know, all of those things were within my control to fix. So what I did was I decided that, you know, from now on, everything that I can do to make sure that the gig goes smoothly, I have to do. And that doesn't matter if I have a gig where I get up there and I have an hour at sound check and my drum set is set up hours before the gig, or if I have 20 minutes before a gig and I've got to hustle my stuff on and off. I do a few things to double check and make sure that everything is right. First of all, when my drums are on stage, whether I've got all the time in the world or very little time, I take a minute to slow down and I double check everything. I make sure that the drums are set up right. I make sure that all the wing nuts are tight on the cymbal stands, and just make sure that everything is good to go. I make sure I got plenty of sticks, I got plenty of bottles of water, and make sure everything's good. I make sure I put a new battery in my in-ear monitors, they're wireless. I make sure that all that stuff is good to go. The other thing that I do, a little thing, make sure the tempo is correct on the metronome for the first 4 songs. As we tie them together and I'm scrolling through it on my metronome, make sure that all of that is right. I double and triple check that stuff. So little things like that. Now there's one other element, okay, with the in-ears getting pulled out of my ear, that, you know, is a silly little incident that could happen to anybody. But, there's another element that, I really double check, make sure all the clips are closed on the flight cases now backstage. But there's one other element that comes into playing that sometimes is hard to deal with, and that is the human element. Okay, we all have to deal with that. We're all imperfect. No matter how much we practice, no matter what we do, we have the human element. You can always have a bad night. I remember reading years ago in Modern Drummer magazine, a very, very, very famous, very influential drummer was talking about sometimes when you're on stage, you just don't want to be there. You're having a bad night, it's like a bad day at work. And I remember being a young kid and thinking to myself, well, man, who would want that? Who would want to not be there? That guy's crazy. But believe me, I've been there, done that. And there's times when it's just like, man, this is a rough night. Bad day at work, So again, what I do when the human element comes into it, when I'm just having a bad night, what I do is I slow my mind down as much as I can, and I focus on what I'm doing, not how I'm doing. Within that human element, we also, every one of us has one thing that is a common denominator for everybody. We all have that voice in our head, that voice that's saying, you're going to mess up. Here comes that one part that's really hard to play, and you've been practicing it, and you've never really nailed it. You should have practiced more. Whatever that voice is saying, we all have it. So you have to learn to push that voice out and not listen to that voice. And again, focus on what you're doing, not how you're doing. Don't listen to that voice in your head. It's not easy to do, but it is doable. So those are my tips to everybody. Make sure that your gear is set up. If you got an old cymbal stand that's 100 years old and it's been through a billion gigs and it's got a it's shaped like a letter S, maybe you want to get rid of that cymbal stand and get a new cymbal stand. Make sure that your gear is in working order. Make sure that everything is set up, plugged in right. Make sure that everything is ready to go. Make sure that your gear is good. Once that's done, then it's up to you to focus in, think about what you're doing, not how you're doing. And then last but not least, if you do have one or two little mistakes, let it go. One of the best pieces of advice I ever got from a professional drummer was, a pro lets a mistake just slide off of his back. And I thought that was great advice, because we're all human. We're all going to make mistakes. You just let it slide off your back and let it go and move forward. So that's my advice, if you have a bad night, that's what you can do to kind of, maybe get back in the zone and pull it out and play well. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. I hope you guys liked the video, and to everybody that's watching and following me and your kind words and everything, it's great. I really appreciate it. Thanks for all the messages and the suggestions for videos. Keep them coming. I read them all, and I appreciate them all so much. So anyway, thanks a lot, and look for Roy's and Chris's interview next week. I think you guys are going to really enjoy that. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.